Hello techies, welcome back to Microsoft Power Automate desktop tutorials. In the previous tutorial, we have learned about exception handling properties. Now, in this tutorial, we will learn about action level exception handling. What is action level exception handling? If there are any exceptions or errors occurs at the action level, we can easily handle by using action level exception handling. All right. If you see on my screen, I'm having a flow which I have already explained you, but let me show you practically over here. I'm having a flow to connect to the database of the SQL server, and then I'm going to insert the data inside the table employee data with the name and salary. Once the data has been inserted successfully by using execute SQL statement, it will close the connection by using close SQL connection. All right, this is the normal flow which I have over here to show you practically. Now, if you go for the database, I'm having select top 1000 ID name salary from employee, that is database name, and employee data, EMP data is the table name. If you see over here in this table, I don't have any data. Let's go ahead, let's run the flow by clicking on run. First, it is going to open the SQL connection, and after that, it has been executed the insert query successfully and inserted the data into employee data table. And finally, it has been closed the SQL connection. Now, once again, we will see that we are having the data or not inside the employee table with the name of Dave and the salary is 10,000. Let's execute that. And now if you see over here, I'm having an ID 1002 and the name is Dave. Another one, salary is 10,000. All right. This is the happy path scenario over here. Let's assume if there is any error occurred at the time of insertion of the execute SQL statement. This is error occurred at the action level. At that time, how we are going to handle the exception at the action level. First of all, I will just create an exception over here by double click on that. Over here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a mistake over here like salary. In the salary, I'm going to remove Y over here. So the columns are not matching over here. In the insert statement, the columns are not matching with the name of the column. All right. This is the exception that I'm going to create over here to make you understand. So how can we go ahead and handle this? We have already seen how to check the properties of an action, right? Go ahead and click on error. Now I'm going to create a new rule for all the errors. I'm going to click on new rule, and I'm going to use set variable. All right, I'm going to save over here as flow error, and I'm going to say over here as flow failed while executing. All right, this is the variable that I'm going to set it as an output over here to get the value as flow failed while executing. This is the exception that I'm going to give it at the time of action level exception handling occurred. All right, now let's go ahead. Let me click on save. Now over here, you can see a flow variable has been created over here under the flow variables. Now we'll run the flow once again to see the exception handling at the action level. Now let's go ahead and let's run the flow. Flow execution started, and you can see there is an error that we got it, that is error in SQL statement, invalid column name salary over here. So this is the error we got it. But what about the action level? You can see over here flow error. Let's double click on that. Now you can see flow failed while executing. All right, let's close it. This is how we are going to handle action level exception handling by using set variable. All right. Now, if you observe, whenever you're going to set an exception over here, you can see this kind of exception handling symbols that you can see over here. You can see whenever you're going to mouse over here, you can see handling the following errors, that is all errors. Let's double click on the action once again. And over here, let me go to on error once again. And if you see over here, I have set a variable over here so that it has been given the value as an output, that is flow failed while executing, while we got an error at the action level. All right. Now, what I want to do, I don't want to throw an error. Over here, if you see, I'm going to open an SQL, and after that, I'm going to execute this statement, SQL statement. But I got an error at the time of execute SQL statement. So before that, the connectivity is open, still open. So whenever you got the error at the execute SQL statement, I need to close the connection, SQL connection. There are two ways that we can do. One is we can go ahead and we can make it to run the next action. That is the first one. Another one, we can execute Subflow from the close connection by using this action. I will explain you these two ways once again. So let's double click on the execute SQL statement and let's go on error. And if you see over here, continue flow run. So what I want to do, I want to go to the next action. That is, what is the next action? That is close SQL connection. Even if you got an error at the action level, you are going to execute the next action, that is close the SQL action. This is the immediate action that we have for the close SQL connection. All right, let's click on save. Now, once again, let's run the flow to see the output. Now, if you see, even after we have executed the execute SQL statement and it has been thrown an error saying that flow failed while executing, and after that, if you see over here, the status of the flow has been executed successfully. That is, what does that mean? It has been executed immediately, that is close SQL connection. To make you understand what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a breakpoint over here. I just clicked over here at the step 3 so that you will get a breakpoint over here. To make you understand, now let's run the flow once again. Now if you see, we got an error over here, and now if you observe over here, it is trying to execute the next action, the immediate action which we have after the execute SQL statement, that is close SQL connection. All right, I hope you understand. Now go to next action by using continue flow run. Now, I don't want to execute the immediate action. Let's assume I'm having execute SQL statement, and in between the close SQL connection, I'm having different actions. In that case, I'm not going to close the SQL connection immediately. In that case, how can we go ahead and do that? So over here, the same close SQL connection, I have created Subflow over here with the same properties. That is, SQL connection is SQL connection. That is, what are the properties that we have, the connection string and all these things that which we have in the flow variable, that is SQL connection. All right. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute this close connection Subflow whenever you got an error in the execute SQL statement. You don't want to execute all the remaining actions. You can go ahead and you can execute the Subflow over here by using action level exception handling. All right, we'll see that how we can do that. Let's double click on the execute SQL statement and once again go to on error. Now if you see over here, all errors, or you can use it, or you can use another properties that is advanced, and you can use any one of the predefined properties also, you can use it. But right now I'm going to use all errors with the new rule that I'm going to define run Subflow. All right. To make you understand, I'm going to delete this set variable. And if you see over here, run Subflow, which flow that I want to run, that is the Subflow, that is close SQL connection. If you drop down over here, you will get close connection is the Subflow. All right, select that and then you can save it. And now to make you understand, I'm going to put it in close connection. I'm going to put a breakpoint over here. All right. Now let's run the flow to see the output once again. Now if you see over here, we are right now in the close SQL connection. In the main, that we got an error, that is, as we know, that is there is a column mismatch or column is not available with the name of SALAR, so that it is going to close the connection once you got the error or the exception at the main flow. Right now, if you see, once you run it, it will close the SQL connection and it will go out of the Subflow and it will go to the main flow. All right. I hope you understand how to handle the exception at the action level. Right. I will show you some more properties over here to make you understand. Let's double click on the execute SQL statement. Now go to on error once again. Now over here, if you see the advanced properties, these are all the predefined exception handles that we have. It's related to the action level, that is to the database, so that you can see over here cannot connect to the database. If you are unable to connect to the database at the time, how you are going to handle the exceptions over here. Here also the same kind of properties that we have: set variable runs of flow. That is the first one. If you are unable to connect to the data source, that is data source is nothing but employee database over here in our scenario. Next one, invalid connection string. What is invalid connection string? If you see over here, I'm having a connection string over here while opening the SQL connection, right? If you see over here, provider SQL OLEDB dot one and integrated security is equal to SSPI. These are all the things that we have: initial catalog, employee data source, so on, so thing, SQL Server 2014. If there is an error or invalid connection string is there at that time, what it will do, it will throw an error under the category of invalid connection string. All right. Now, error in SQL statement. If you see over here right now, we are seeing the error in SQL statement. In that case, the query or the SQL statement will throw an error over here. In that case, we can provide the set variable, or we can provide the subflow to run when an error occurs. All right. I hope you understand how to handle an exception at the action level by using the properties at the action level. In the next tutorial, we will learn about the block level exception handling. Thank you for watching Power Automate tutorials. If you have any queries related to this concept, please post them in the comment section. I will see you in the next session. Till then, bye bye. Have a wonderful day.